I don't think I got banned.
You got banned.
If I got banned, then Pokemon Go is dying. Today I want to investigate something that a lot of people have asked me about, but I've just never gotten around to. And that's, do incense and lures attract Pokemon from a nest? Well, that was the plan anyway, but I'm having trouble logging into the game right now, so I might have to pause and come back to this later. You got in?
Huh?
You got in?
I mean, it took me like a couple of tries.
Yeah, something's up. They told me. Thanks. Cassie's in, and this is Hollydale Park. This is a park that we suspected might have been either Growlithe or a seal nest.
Oh wait, there's an Omanyte, sorry.
There is an Omanyte? Okay. So after the most recent migration, it changed to Omanyte according to reports on the Sylph Road. Cassie says there is an Omanyte on sightings now. I still can't get in, so I can't really do my research. But we're gonna give it a few minutes, see if I can get in here, and hopefully we can learn a little bit more about nests, spawn points, incense, and lures.
What?
30 minutes, you think?
About 30 minutes.
I don't know.
Yes.
But we're finally in. We're both in. No Omanytes on the sightings. There is a Golem here.
Oh wow.
So we'll try to find that. Alright, well there's Golem. That's, I'm not even going to say moderately, that's very exciting.
Did we get Golem last time we were here?
214.
Oh, but didn't we get Golem here when we were here last time?
We did. No, we got Graveler.
Oh, okay.
We found a Graveler here last time. This is a Golem, 214 CP. Very disappointing, but I am evolving a good Geodude this weekend. And I'm actually shooting that Q&A today because they have some fun stuff going on this weekend, so I need to be prepared in advance. Got it. Golem was caught. Rock Throw, Ancient Power. How are those IVs? Not good. I have so many Golems now. I know this is probably going to hurt some of you who never get to see Geodude, but there it goes. Bye-bye. Doduo. Still no Omanytes. I think we need to pick a different park to make this experiment work. Well, we were really about to give up. We were trying to find a different nest to go to, one that spawns reliably, and also has a long straight path that I can skate through for maximizing incense spawns. But here's an Omanyte, so this definitely is, well, I've seen an Omanyte here now, and it's most likely a nest because I've never seen that here before. I don't see any seals anymore, so this is probably an Omanyte nest. So that's one Omanyte. They don't spawn super frequently here, but to be honest, nothing really spawns super frequently. There aren't a ton of spawn points at this park, so that actually might be a good thing for this test because I'll get a lot more spawns with Incense, and we can see if any of them turn out to be Omanyte, the nest Pokemon here. Alright, so now I gotta get back out of the car. Jeez. Just fell. We have another Omanyte on sightings, so that's proof enough for me that there's some kind of Omanyte nest activity going on here. So what I'm gonna do now is start up my Incense. And remember, Incense spawns a Pokemon once per minute if you're moving at least 10 kilometers per hour. So with this Incense on, I'm just gonna skate back and forth this way, and we should be spawning Pokemon once per minute, so we can get a lot more data points in a much shorter amount of time. Here we go. Well, the first Pokemon's Cubone, and that's something that we see on the sightings right now also. So far it seems like the Incense, based on one spawn only, is pulling information from the local spawns. Now let's see if Omanyte ever shows up with the Incense on. Sandshrew, also on the sightings. Alright, now we gotta turn around. Head the other way. There's 2 natural spawns, Geodude and Doduo. I'm already low on Pokeballs, so I'm not really interested, but I gotta get this incense popping off. Cassie has an incense on too.
Huh?
Right?
No, I'm just transferring.
Cassie doesn't have an incense on. Bye. This is a natural Omanyte spawn. Regular nest Pokemon here. Not attracted by incense. 2 regular spawn Omanytes. So far none with the incense. How's this one? Pretty decent. Oh, wait. There's Growlithe. That's also something we've seen here spawn naturally. Seconds left on the incense. This is going to be the last spawn. No Omanytes whatsoever. We did find 1 natural spawn of an Omanyte during that time. There's another one on sightings, and I have a feeling it's probably down in the parking lot where the first one was. With that incense done, never mind, the Omanyte's gone. Maybe it's back that way. I'm gonna go find Cassie and we'll regroup, talk about our findings. There's the Omanyte. So that's 3 natural Omanyte spawns and no Omanyte from the incense. Also, I ran out of Pokeballs, which is why I've been using Great Balls for the second half of this. Did you catch anything while you were sitting
Yeah, 2 Omanytes are here.
over there?
Just sitting here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did see plenty of Omanyte natural spawns here at the nest. But again, I didn't find any with the incense.
No. I got a pincer with an incense at 1,000 something CP.
Really? Well, I'm not surprised because there's a pincer on my sightings right now. You know, I don't know how many Pokemon I spawned with that incense. Somewhere between 20 and 30, which is not a normal sample size. I would have liked to get at least 30. So I think what we'll do now is head to a different nest, somewhere where we can get at least 2 lures at the same time. And I'll throw on another incense there, and you will too. So that'll be at least 10 more incense spawns at a nest for our data. Which nest should we go to?
I don't know, somewhere with real chips.
Southgate Park is an obvious choice, but right now it's a Cubone nest, and Cubone spawns naturally in this area, so I feel like that would kind of interfere with the data. So I think
the Bulbasaur nest, the old one by the
Sandshrew.
Oh god.
Again, something that spawns naturally here. Bellsprout. We'll go to Furman Park. We'll try for some Bellsprouts. We had to get a smoothie. Check this out. Bellsprout cluster spawn right when we get here.
Oh my
3
god. See?
at a time. So, no doubt about it. Bellsprout nest. We're gonna lure both of these Pokestops. We're gonna put some incense on. Hopefully I don't run out of Pokeballs. We gotta find a good spot to sit. There's actually nowhere that you can really reach both Pokestops at the same time. You can get the spawns from both of them, but you actually have to get up and move to spin them, which is really not that big of a deal because I have legs. I'm pretty sure you have legs too, right?
No, yes.
Yeah. Not worried about it. Okay, 3 Bellsprouts. So far, 100% of our spawns have been Bellsprout. Alright. Can you see me? Can you get down here? Lures going out. Incense going on. 30 minutes. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. I need to buy another lure. Okay, here we go. There's Bellsprout. Natural spawn, not an incense, not a lure. And I can't even hit it. Oh, come on. Just walked over to spin the Pokestop, and there's another Bellsprout, again, natural spawn, and both lures and the incense are almost over, and no Bellsprouts at all from either of those. So it's looking like we have our answer. One lure just ended. This one should be following very soon. 58 seconds left on the incense. So once both of those end, I'm gonna take a couple shots at this gym. 3, 2, 1. This experiment is over. We're gonna go back and analyze the results, but I think it's pretty clear that incense and lures are not gonna spawn nest Pokemon. What do we have? Exeggutor, Snorlax. I'm gonna be a team player here and drop another Exeggutor at the bottom. So if there's any instinct players in the area, come train this up. Easy 2,000 prestige per battle. Now let's head back to the lab and do some final analysis on today's experiment. Well, before we go, one more Bellsprout, because why not? 6 Bellsprouts since we've been here at this park. None of them came from incense or from lures. Gotta use the Ultra Ball on the 420 Bellsprout. That's gonna go in my collection with the 420 Voltorb, Vine Whip, Power Whip. I'm definitely gonna use that in a gym battle eventually. After looking everything over, here are the final numbers. Out of 10 natural spawns that we saw during our time at Hollydale Park, 3 were Omanyte, so 30% of spawns were Omanyte. Out of the 21 Pokemon that spawned with my incense, 0 were Omanyte. And at Furman Park, 100% of the natural spawns we saw were Bellsprout. Out of the 20 Pokemon that spawned at the lures, 0 were Bellsprout. And out of the 12 Pokemon that spawned between Cassie's incense and mine, 0 were Bellsprout. Now the experiment wasn't perfectly designed. Again, I would need at least 30 data points for natural spawns, incense spawns, and lure spawns for each park. It's hard to compare between parks because they might have different spawn rates for their nest Pokemon. Clearly we saw a lot more Bellsprouts than we did Omanytes. But it seems like the trend is pretty clear. Incense and lures probably don't spawn nest Pokemon. A little while back, a Redditor named Evolutionary Theorist did some experiments with lures and came to the conclusion that lures spawn Pokemon based on the nearby biomes. It can pull 100% from a single biome or from a combination of the biomes around the Pokestop. We can assume that Incense works in a similar way, because we know if you use Incense in an area without natural Pokemon spawns, it pulls from a global table, almost random spawns. At Hollydale Park, there was a very clear pattern to the Pokemon that spawned with the Incense. Lots of ground, rock, and fire types. And all but 2 of the Pokemon that spawned with Incense also spawned naturally in the time we were there. The only 2 that we never saw natural spawns of were Goldeen and Charmeleon. The Goldeen was a bit of a surprise, but remember, there is water near the park. There's a river that runs along the side of it. So it's possible that there is very low rate water Pokemon spawning in that area, and that we just didn't see any natural spawns in the time we were there. Charmeleon I'm less surprised about, because we saw a lot of other fire types. We saw Growlithe, we saw Ponyta, we even caught a Rapidash on the way out. So it's very possible that Charmeleon spawns along with other fire types in the park, although at a much lower rate. At Furman Park there was also a pretty clear pattern. All of the Pokemon that spawned from the lure modules and from Incense were pretty common Pokemon, and definitely Pokemon that I see often at that park. Pidgey, Rattata, Spearow, and then we also saw Rhyhorn, Ponyta, and Mankey, which all spawn from the same general biome that I see here in Southern California, the same biome that we saw at Hollydale Park. Based on the fact that we never saw any nest Pokemon spawn with either Incense or lure modules, my theory is that nest spawn points work a little differently than regular spawn points. It seems that nest Pokemon aren't considered a part of the natural biome in the area when it comes to selection for Incense and lure module spawns. So one thing I'd like to investigate in the future is, do nest spawn points only spawn the nest Pokemon, or do they have a chance to spawn either the nest Pokemon or Pokemon from the natural biome? And I'm leaning towards the latter, but I will have to camp out certain spawn points at a nest to figure that out in an upcoming episode. That's going to be it for this one. Again, not a perfectly designed experiment. I'd like to do this again in the future with a bigger data set, but let me know in the comments or on Twitter if you've experienced the same thing that I did today, or have you seen nest Pokemon spawning at lures or with Incense? Now tomorrow I'm heading out to the desert for a little music festival that Cassie and a couple of our other friends are DJing at, so tomorrow's episode will most likely be vlog focused, although I'll try to make time to shoot a little bit of a tip if I can. I'll see you guys then. It's a slow day here today. It's not nearly as packed as it was when the game first released, and a lot of people think that that means Pokemon GO is dying, but that's totally not the case at all. Let's talk about player retention. Maybe somewhere a little quieter.